The honourable member for Calgary Rocky Ridge.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. And I had the opportunity to put a question to the Minister of Natural Resources earlier this week in the wake of massive new layoffs in the energy sector, both in Calgary and in Newfoundland and Labrador. But my question was particularly about Calgary, and the answer was wholly unsatisfactory in that, but the minister perhaps even came a little bit closer to answering the question and acknowledging the role that his government has played in the exodus of employment from the oil and gas sector. He spoke about oil and gas companies having to redeploy resources and capital while adapting to all of the challenges within the energy industry worldwide. And Madam Speaker, that's exactly the point. That is exactly what energy companies are doing. They are making business decisions to locate outside of Canada precisely because of the 5-year war on the energy industry that has been waged by this government. In my riding, there are thousands of people who have lost their jobs over the years since this government has taken, been formed, precisely because their employers are making decisions to move to other jurisdictions. They're doing so because of the regulatory uncertainty that has been created by this government through bills like Bill C-69 and Bill C-48, the rhetoric that we hear from the Prime Minister on down through many members of his cabinet and his party's caucus. There are real repercussions for these. They are in lost jobs, lost livelihoods, families that are just, I don't know how else to put it, Madam Speaker. I mean, I talked to them throughout the 2019 election, families giving up hope, families split where members of the family have had to go to other countries to find work. Calgary is their home, and they want to be in Calgary, and yet they're having to go overseas to find work. And this government has to acknowledge that both its legislation, its rhetoric, and the signals that it sends to the investment community have a direct impact on these lost jobs. So I had called upon the minister to admit that their policies have played a role in these job losses. 2,000 more employees gone from Suncor. This economy and my province can't handle 2,000 more unemployed workers, and the answer that was provided during question period was completely unsatisfactory and will do nothing to give any sense of hope to the workers in my riding and across Canada.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Natural Resources. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Before I go into my script here, maybe he should know what's going on in the world. 107,000 workers have been laid off in the United States in the oil and gas sector. BP has laid off 10,000 workers around the world. Shell has laid off 9,000 workers around the world. And this member wants to tell us that it's because of Canadian policies that this is all what's going on around the world. He couldn't be further from the truth, obviously. Our government is working hard to help the oil and gas sector. And his question is a very, very important one. We know Canada's resource sector, their workers and suppliers have been hard hit by the fallout from COVID-19. Madam Speaker, nowhere has this been more pronounced than in the petroleum sector, where producers have faced the added challenge of record low prices caused by the dual impact of a price war and a collapse in demand. Something obviously ignored by the member, either willfully or Basically, he's not sure what's going on in his backyard. The success of Canada's petroleum sector is critical to the successful restart and recovery of the economy. Madam Speaker, that is why our government is working hard to support the petroleum sector through these difficult times. As a government, we believe in the future of the sector, and I will say it again. I'll say this again. We believe in the future of this sector, including its role in driving investments in clean technology and new opportunities in areas such as hydrogen and carbon capture, use and storage, which is why we have put in place measures over the past several months that are key to ensuring that Canada emerges with a stronger, more innovative economy and a cleaner energy future. We started with the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy, which supported maintaining jobs in all sectors across Canada. For our oil and gas sector, the wage subsidy meant sustaining 80,000 jobs. And I'll repeat, 80,000 jobs at the height of the crisis across Canada, 60,000 jobs in Alberta alone. We went further with almost $2.5 billion for the energy sector, providing $1.7 billion to clean up orphan and inactive oil and gas wells. This is expected to create thousands of jobs, including an estimated 5,200 in Alberta alone, and providing lasting environmental benefits. And I must say, the Alberta government and the Minister of Energy of Alberta was ecstatic when we partnered up to do this with the province of Alberta. Up to $750 million in repayable contributions through a new emissions reduction fund to lower greenhouse gas emissions in Canada's oil and gas sector with a focus on methane. The fund includes $75 million, some of which will be non-repayable, to help the offshore industry in Newfoundland and Labrador create and maintain jobs through emission reduction efforts, and expanded eligibility to help Canadian businesses get the financing they need during this period of uncertainty. This support is available to medium-sized businesses with larger financing needs, beginning with companies in Canada's energy sector, to help them maintain operations and keep their employees on the job. And more recently, Madam Speaker, our government announced $320 million in funding to support the workers in Newfoundland and Labrador offshore. This will stimulate and maintain employment and economic activity in the province and ensure that it can support middle-class families and communities. Madam Speaker, our government will continue to pursue all avenues to ensure Canada's energy sector continues to be a key source of the jobs that support a strong economy. We are supporting workers, we are supporting families, we are supporting our oil and gas sector, we are supporting Albertans, Madam Speaker.
Honourable member for Calgary Rocky Ridge.
Well, Madam Speaker, the arrogance of much of that response will reinforce just that which my constituents have told me on the doorsteps. He mentioned job losses resulting from both COVID and a global price collapse. Madam Speaker, 200,000 jobs were lost in this sector before COVID, Madam Speaker, before COVID. Before COVID, Shell, which he mentioned in his response, left Canada. They divested themselves of Canada, of the employees that Shell has shed worldwide. I don't off the top of my head know how many of them were in my riding, Madam Speaker, but I can assure this member that this is right close to home. This government has chased jobs out of Canada, and he knows this, Madam Speaker, if he knows his file.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Is down.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
What I will respond to this member is he was there in the last parliament with us, where we did everything to push through to get TMX built. And it's being built right now. He should know this. I'm sure he does. And it's such an important file. And I know behind closed doors, talking to my colleagues from the Conservative Party, they are happy about that. They are. And Albertans are happy that we are proceeding with TMX and thousands of jobs that are being created right now because of TMX. But I want to reiterate that our government believes in the success of the petroleum sector and that it's critical to the successful restart and recovery of the economy. That's why we put in place the measures over the past several months that I've just referred to. Because we understand the importance of supporting a sector that is a source of well-paying jobs for Canadians across the country. We understand that by supporting a strong economic recovery, particularly in the oil and gas sector, Canadian businesses such as Suncor will continue to attract investments in good projects that help to support environmental and social priorities and create jobs for Canadians now and into the future. Merci.